All right, Shalom Israel. The water for coming out and watching in class and also online. We're just going to get started. Salakia for being a little late. First scripture we got coming up is 1 Thessalonians. Let me go ahead and correct this real quick on the abbreviation. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 9. But first and foremost, we want to give a shout out to all the brothers and sisters that attend class around the globe, that take care to make sure that they're developing their spirit, their spiritual development, their spiritual well-being, spiritual health, as well as their physical health. But we want to also say shout out to all the brothers in Norfolk, Virginia, Houston, Texas, New York, Florida, California, New Mexico, Guatemala, Shalom Kabakab down in Guatemala, and Amiyat Zion, London. The water for them brothers and their work that they're doing, and we salute those brothers that are committed to the everyday grind, because we know it's not easy. Let me go ahead and turn these volumes down on these phones. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. First verse, whoever got it. Hey, shalom everybody online, shalom family online. Let's go ahead and get started. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 9.
1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 9. But as touching brotherly love.
It says, but as what?
But as touching brotherly love.
It says, but as touching brotherly love. Go ahead.
Ye need not that I write unto you.
It says, there's not, it shouldn't have to be a special, when you look at what Paul is saying, it shouldn't have to be a special letter committed to brotherly love or sisterly love, how to treat one another.
I'm going to fix the title. What's the name of the classic?
It's called Unfollow Cain. Unfollow Cain. All right. So he said there shouldn't have to be a letter specifically designated for somebody to know how to love somebody. But for this reason, obviously, he feels like people are still not committed to love. And knowing and fully understanding what that commitment is and what that devotion entails when it means to love a brother. So, he's really demonstrating the fact that it's an embarrassment and it's a shame to have to go over and touch this title. But somehow maybe the title or this obligation is not rooted within ourselves and rooted within our hearts and minds to extend and love one another appropriately according to the Bible. So that's why we have to go over these topics, because somewhere or another, we're backsliding or being forgetful hearers of what it means to have love. I mean, which we will do when you go to the beginning of the book, the first book of Genesis. Within the first 4 chapters, you already read about a brotherly relationship going downhill. You know what I'm saying? And that just shows you how quick brothers forget how to be brothers. You know what I'm saying? When you look at how the Most High has to use the beginning of the Bible to show forth an archetypal example of brotherhood, of what it means to have brotherhood. All right, so read it one more time.
Con. 1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 9. But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you.
It said you're not supposed to need a letter that I write. There's already so many commandments and so many scriptures, and so many rudimentary precepts in the scriptures to show what it means, how to love your neighbor as yourself. Prefer your brother over yourself. There's so many things that is out there to let you know who should be first in your life as a first priority. Read on.
God. For ye yourselves are taught of the Most High to love one another.
That's why he said, for ye yourselves are what?
Are taught of the Most High to love one another.
They said, yeah, you should have been taught. That should have been the first thing that you learn when you read Genesis. It's what happens when brothers don't get along due to one's envy over another, or disagreement with the fact that one has something that the other one doesn't.
Or a compounding of situations that were never explained that I took offense to.
Right.
Because some brothers certain things were offended and never said nothing, and now it's 8 months later and nobody knows. I can't remember what are you mad about.
You know what? People that are mad, the brothers that got problems with other brothers, like you said, they know exactly why they're mad. They know exactly what bothers them, because all it takes is a little bit of a poke from that person that they got a problem with.
Yeah.
and all of it starts to come out. For example, let's read verse 8 real quick in this Thessalonians. He said what in verse 8? Read up verse 8.
1 Thessalonians 4 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
He therefore that despiseth not man, but the Most High.
He therefore that despises not man, but who?
But the Most High.
But the Most High. Now all it takes is one brother to say, if I'm A, mad at another brother B, all it takes for B to say something that he don't like about me being A. All it takes is one brother saying, I don't agree with you because I don't like how you do things. Well, you know what? Me being the A brother with the initial issue, all he has to do is say something about me, and I'll have a list. I'll run off about 5 to 10 things about this brother that I don't like either. But I never told him.
Yeah.
I never told him until he told me about something that he didn't like about me. I never made it known what it was. But it's there. When I don't know how to love appropriately, that disgust is still there.
Unknown animosity.
It's unknown. But somebody has to be the object of my contempt. Somebody's gonna get this smoke and get the blame for how I feel. So as soon as that brother tells me, well, brother, I don't like how you said this. Well, you know what? I don't like how you talked to me when I was in front of these brothers. I don't like what you said when we was in the car. I don't like you said when we was at the store. Damn, you got all these situations stacked up, but you never made it known that you got these problems. Because men, they despise in secrecy.
Yeah.
And that's why, and they're ignorant and childish in a sense. And because they're childish in nature, this is why he said he has to come back and explain what it means to show love. Now, let's let that go and go to Romans chapter 12, verse 10. Whoever got it.
Romans.
Get this next scripture up here real quick.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 10. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Let's go ahead and get it.
Be kindly affection one to another.
But the scriptures say what?
Be kindly affection one to another.
It said instead of having a state of mind that's contrary to this person's joy and contrary to this person's happiness, the Bible says do what?
Be kindly affection one to another.
It said you're supposed to be kindly affection one to another, doing what?
With brotherly love.
I'm supposed to be kindly attached to a man. To want to see, to have kindness within myself to my brother, that means that I have goodwill to my brother. That means I want to see, goodwill is to have the disposition to want to see somebody happy. I want to see somebody happy. I want to see somebody at peace. I want to see somebody with joy. I want to see somebody, living their life, not being bogged down with depression, with issues, financial, physical, mental, marital. I don't want to see you having issues. So I'm supposed to be attached to a brother with the notion that I want the best for you. That's what it means to be kindly affection one to another. That means to be kind means I have goodwill to you. I want to see good come to you. It's hard to show love to somebody when you don't wish any good upon them.
Yeah, I know well wishes.
There's no well wishes. I have no desire that anything good happens to you. I don't have no desire that you inherit some goodness. You know why? Because I'm looking at what? I'm not happy. Because I'm not happy in my situation, why should I be happy for you? Because I don't like the state that I'm in. It's hard for me to fake it that I'm happy for other people. When I got life's woes bearing down on my shoulders. When I got situations that I'm dealing with, that I'm going through, I don't got no time to worry about you. I got no time to worry about your happiness. I gotta make my own lane.
That's a real thing, bro.
I ain't got time. I got time to be happy for you. That's good. Smile, fake smile. I'm happy for you. Good. You're doing well. Good to hear it. Fake
Not
smile.
really.
Good to know that you're doing well. That's good for you. Let me give you a round of applause because you're doing good. Good for you. But I'm not. But I'm seated in negative. So if I'm gonna love somebody, first and foremost, he said I gotta be attached to people that I'm supposed to love. How?
With brotherly love.
Go ahead.
And honor preferring.
And with honor, meaning what? There's a priority that I have. And what's the priority?
Brotherly love.
Mm-hmm. He said, in honor, what?
Or preferring.
He said, so what's the priority?
Preferring.
Preferring who?
What? another.
I'm preferring you over me.
That's wild.
That's the priority. See, I can't even love somebody if I don't have their goodwill and their kindness in my mind, and I don't want to see good coming to this person, and I can't even love somebody if I don't want to see them do better than me. That means love is intertwined with the idea that I want good coming to you, and I want you to be above me when it comes to joy and happiness. Yes, sir.
So that where it says preferring one another, preferring first
Yes.
another?
Yes, meaning if think about this. If I prefer your happiness over mine, and you prefer my happiness over yours, who's lacking?
No.
I'm like,
Nobody's lacking.
Nobody.
Nobody's lacking. Think about it. If we're standing back to back, in a crowd of offensive people, and we got to be on high alert, but we're standing back to back. That means you got my back covered, and I got your back covered. That means we're completely covered as a unit. That means nobody can sneak up on either one of us, because I'm covering the aspect of your life that you can't handle or you can't see, and you're covering the aspect of my life that I can't handle or I can't see.
Come.
So now instead of being partially strong,
Yeah.
we're completely strong. If we have this idea and perfect this idea of preferring one another in love, that means that if I cover you, you cover me, we're both never uncovered.
And we bring our strengths together.
We're bringing our strengths together. We're uniting our strengths.
Come.
So nobody's lacking anything. Nobody's missing anything. Nobody's short on anything. You know when there's a shortness? When one person starts to become selfish and not selfish.
Yeah.
Selfless. That's when shorts and lacks and poverty kicks in. When one person is just totally consumed with just whatever they got going on. Picture a marriage where one person in the marriage, either husband or wife, is totally consumed about the things they got going on in life.
That's crazy.
Who suffers?
And the whole house.
The other party suffer.
Yeah.
If I'm the man and I'm completely consumed about what I got going on, and I don't look at what anybody else got going on in the house, then the house suffers. If I'm a woman, but I'm engulfed in my pain and my issues, and I'm not looking at what everybody else need from me as a wife, then who suffers? The people around me. They suffer. So what he's showing you is this is the mind frame that it takes to be in order to perfect and to understand the benefits of love. He said, but I shouldn't be having to write a letter to you. That's really a damn shame that I got to write a letter to you to know how to love. Especially when you already have Genesis and the book of Genesis, with Cain being the major archetype of what it means to hate your brother.
Yeah.
And to harbor negative and have hate in your heart.
Being a hater, bro.
Being a hater. I got Cain for a grand example. But I got Abel also of an example of what it means to get the Most High's attention, so he can come back and bless us on the back end. All the Most High told Cain to do was what?
Do good.
He said, if thou
do as well, would you not be?
if thou doest well, will thou not be accepted? All you got to do is put forth the sacrifice necessary to please me, and I'll take care of you. Obviously, you got your brother there for an example.
Yeah.
All he had to do, he didn't have to be envious of Abel. All he had to do was duplicate what Abel was doing to get the same attention from the Most High that he was giving Abel.
But he couldn't see that because he was so offended.
Yeah. And he was so offended and he was bitter because he couldn't get out of the fact that he was hurting because he was rejected by the Most High and he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So because I'm consumed, I'm hurt. I got the Cain newsletter. I subscribe to it every month. It's true.
Yeah.
That's what we do. I got the Cain app that I go to every day.
It popped up like
It just pop up, yeah.
Whole article.
I get an alert. I get a Cain alert. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, have you hated today? You know what I'm saying? Have you despised your brother yet? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Yes or no? You know what I'm saying? Some of us got that, man. Some of us got that in mind where we're programmed to be like Cain.
Yeah.
We're programmed to automatically envy what somebody else's joy or happiness, and mad that the fact that the Most High hasn't bestowed these same benefits that he gave somebody else upon me, or same opportunities as somebody else upon me. And that goes from brother to brother, sister to sister, husband and wife. It goes back any relationship. We develop these attributes where we start to despise. I despise the relationship you have with other people because you don't have that relationship with me. I despise the fact that you have this freedom and this liberty and I don't get that freedom and liberty. I despise the fact that you get this opportunity but I didn't get that opportunity. So a lot of us don't know how to love, and that's why he's having to come back and show in a couple of verses what love is. He's having to come back and demonstrate, man, this is how you love. So let's go to Cain then. Let's go ahead and go to Genesis chapter 4, and let's read verse 8.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. Right?
Yeah, because the title of the class is called Unfollow Cain. You know, but Cain is just, like I said, Cain is just an archetype of a personality that still exists on earth today.
It wasn't just one person.
No.
And that was just the one guy.
Cain in Genesis 4 is the forerunner of a mind frame of what people are going to have from that point on forward. From that point forward that we read in history forward to today's time frame, that mind frame was still going to exist on earth. And there was still going to be some individuals that walk amongst the earth with this type of mind frame, not understanding what it means to really show love.
Hey, sir.
Watch the camera.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Around the camera, sir.
Yeah.
Run the camera, guys. Around the camera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 4, verse 8.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 8 reads, And Cain talked with Abel his brother.
So Cain was talking. Now, could you imagine a conversation?
Had to be a bad conversation. It could have been a good conversation, though.
What kind of conversation are they having where Cain just talking with Abel? You just conversating. You just talking. It said what? Let me go ahead. Yeah, let me read this one.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 8 reads, And Cain talked with Abel his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him.
Something motivated him.
That was more than a conversation.
Yeah.
That exchange led to something disastrous. That exchange just inflamed what was already going on in this man's mind.
Mm.
It didn't tell us exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah, they have to.
But it didn't have
The result tells you how bad.
The outcome shows you what they was talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't love that they were discussing between each other.
Yeah.
Read.
Verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother?
So now the deed is done. Cain slew his brother. You know, he said, Where is who?
Where is Abel thy brother?
He said, Where is Abel thy what?
Thy brother.
Where is Abel thy brother? And he said what?
And he said, I know not.
He said, I don't know.
Lying.
I don't know. Now you know you just did this man in. You know you just clubbed him, stoned him, whatever you did. You killed him, hid him in the dirt, and then came back and said, I don't know where he is. Now, I like what this commentary real quick. We're just gonna pull this real fast on this commentary statement about when people, what do people do when they're despised within themselves or disgusted with themselves because somebody else is reaping some benefits that they can't receive. Read this real quick. Genesis chapter 4 in the Bible commentary. I just want you to grab this real quick. Read this right here.
Oh. Right there? Right here?
Yeah. It is as if.
Oh, okay. Cover.
This is a Bible knowledge commentary. Go ahead.
It is as if he could not wait to destroy his brother.
He said Cain operated as if he could not wait to do what?
To destroy his brother.
Now read on.
A natural man's solution.
It says a natural man's solution.
Wow.
When I got a problem with my brother, I got a problem with him. What the Most High had already given Cain the answer to his problem. The Most High told Cain in verse 5, go ahead. No, hold it. Verse 5. Genesis
Verse 5.
chapter 5.
Verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
He said, but the Most High rejected Cain's offering. Now, the Most High rejects our offering, meaning he doesn't bless the work of our hands. He doesn't bless what we bring to the table, because the Most High is not happy with our sacrifice.
No.
So the Most High rejects our sacrifice. Now, the Most High is a power that just doesn't reject your sacrifice without you understanding why.
Yeah, he doesn't keep you in the mystery.
And he don't keep you in the dark and be like, I'm rejecting your sacrifice, and you just got to go figure it out on your own what it's going to do to please me. Now, we read that the Most High said he's not a God that's afar off, but a God that's near. So the Most High doesn't try to evade you and reject you and evade you. I'm going to reject your offering, and I'm not going to tell you what it takes to get to know me. I'm going to hide from you. Now, the Most High is merciful enough to reject us and then come back and tell us what it takes to get back in good graces. What it takes to get back in good terms. And that's how beautiful the Most High is. So it wasn't like the Most High forever had it out with Cain. It was Cain's hatred or disgust and wrath that kept him from following the Most High's instructions. And what was the Most High's instructions to make things right? Read.
And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth?
Go ahead.
And why is thy countenance fallen?
Now, the Most High know he's rejected him. He know he disannulled his offering. But he said, why are you mad? Why are you angry? Why are you wroth? Go ahead.
If thou doest well.
Now here's the option. Here's the opportunity. Here's the answer. Here's the solution. If thou doest what?
Well.
If you do what's right. Read on.
Shalt thou not be accepted?
Will you not be accepted? So there was the answer right there. If you just turn back around and sacrifice the best of what you bring, of what you're receiving. See, Cain was a tiller of the ground. Abel was a keeper of the sheep. Abel gave the Most High the firstlings of his flock. He gave the Most High the best of his income, of his increase. So he looked at the Most High as priority. I'm going to take care of the Most High for taking care of me. And the sacrifices that I'm giving, the Most High is going to get his off the top. First things first, give the Most High the best of what he gave me, because without him I wouldn't have it. Cain's mind was strictly, like in the Josephus, it talks about he was geared on greed. Take. Me. I'm not worried about giving the Most High his.
Forcing the ground.
I'm forcing the ground to make sure I produce more for me. It was self-indulgence, being self-centered. He didn't want to give the Most High or think about the Most High in mind first. In the Josephus it said that Abel operated with the mind frame that the Most High was always looking over his shoulder. He was always watching him. So he had a God-like conscience. Cain didn't have that God-like conscience. That's revealed later on when you look at the land of Nod. There was no sacrifices or prayers to the Most High in the land of Nod. The Most High didn't get nothing after that. It said later on, and we'll get there in a minute, that it wasn't until Seth, that it wasn't until the Most High replaced Abel with Seth, that men began to call upon the name of the Lord.
That's crazy.
So that means while Cain went to Nod, he didn't pray to the Most High. But we'll get to that point. But so Abel had this God-like conscience that Cain didn't possess, where he was always conscious of the Most High, putting the Most High first. Read on.
And if thou doest well, sin, Salakia, if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
So you're bait for Satan if you don't do what's right. You're vulnerable to the wickedness, the wiles of the devil if you don't do what's right. Because Satan is waiting to enter into a mind that's forsaking the Most High for a blessing. That doesn't want to look at what the Most High is saying as an answer to get the Most High's attention. Satan is waiting for that person. All right. So Cain had the answers, right? Did he want to do the answers?
No.
No. So read this one more time.
It says, it is as he could not wait to destroy his brother.
Go ahead.
A natural man.
Because remember, Abel had the godlike conscience. Cain was a natural man. Go ahead.
A natural man's solution to his own failure.
It says a natural man's solution to his own failure. So what is a natural man's solution? Is to destroy the person that makes me look bad. That's what it's saying right here in this commentary. That's my solution. My solution is, instead of making the changes that the Most High is telling me I need to make to get blessed, I don't want to make those changes. I'd rather just degrade and destroy the person that's right next to me, and so I can eliminate the fact that I have to make changes and the Most High is not blessing me.
Yeah.
That's like me looking in a mirror, not liking what I see in the reflection, and punching the mirror.
It is.
Because I don't like what I see. So I'm going to break the mirror. Why break the mirror? No, we need to do? We need to make mirrors that lie to people. That'll be a #1 seller in America.
Be a hit out.
How do I look today? Good
You
morning.
look great.
You are awesome. You look beautiful today. Thank you, mirror.
Mirror on the wall.
Yeah, who's the fairest of them all? You know, we did that. We'll you know why people want to be lied to? You know why? Because people with makeup on every day.
Yeah.
Hey, men will use makeup too. You know, men lie too. Men don't like the way they look either. Men kick on makeup too. They just do it in different ways. Women don't like what they see, so they cover blemishes. That's popular. Not seeing the truth about yourself is popular.
Yeah.
That's why on every camera app you got filters.
Yeah, that's
that
why
you can use.
filters are popular.
Yeah, you can use a filter because the filter is going to take the blemish away. I can slim myself up. I can take away what you call them, them
Acne bump.
them acne bumps, but the moles and what they call it? What do women call it?
Beauty marks?
Tags, face tags. I can take off the face tags.
Yeah.
I can block this out. I can add this. I can lighten my skin tone up.
No freckles or freckles?
No freckles. I can lie to myself, and I can feel better about myself because I'm not happy what I see. But all I have to do is make changes. You know, your skin is just a reflection of your dietary consumption. When you eat a lot of chicken grease, when you eat a lot of chips and soda, you get grease that stores itself in the body. The skin, underneath the skin, you have the dermis and the epidermis. Both of those are layers of fat. One is just fattier tissue. The dermis is just more fattier tissue than the epidermis. The epidermis is what you see up top. When you scratch that, you get a scrape. You see the white meat. That's the dermis. That's the fat. That's just fat. So when I get too much fat within my skin tries to eject it in the form of acne or blackheads because my body is trying to push it out. Because so it's just good skin is just a matter of good eating. That's all it is. If I eat better, if I stop drinking sodas, and I stop eating greasy foods and saturated fats, then I don't have to worry about it coming out of my skin in the form of some zit or wart or acne. But a lot of times you can tell when somebody smokes, they got leathery skin. They got crocodile skin. But no moisture, and the skin dried up. The skin dried up because the smoke dried it up. It's like having smoked fish, man. This smoke just dried it up. Skin all dried up. The smoke is drying you up.
Like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger skin. Greg Popovich skin.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's just a matter of me. That's if I want to be honest about changing the things that I don't like about my skin. I'm just using that for an example. Because people don't want to hear what it takes to fix themselves, they'll rather attack the person that's telling them what they need to do to change. They'd rather attack the person next to them and make the person look bad that's next to them, but they're really the ones that don't want to change. He said, this is the methodology of a carnal-minded man. Read that one more time.
This is right here. It says, rather than being... It is as if he could not wait to destroy his brother.
Go ahead.
A natural man's solution
a natural man's solution to what?
his own failure.
So a natural man's solution to his own failure is to develop the mind of Cain. That means everybody's the problem around me, but who? But me. You're the problem. You know why I say you're the problem? Because it's easier for me to put the blame on you than it is for me to make the changes that the Most High want me to make. It's easier for me to do that. It's easier for me to say it's your fault that I'm the way I am. It's your fault I'm not happy. It's your fault I'm not blessed. It's your fault I'm not rewarded. It's your fault. It's always easier to say that when I'm a natural-minded man. It's easier to cast the blame and push the blame on the people around me. That's all. That's the antics of a carnal-minded man. What if I? That's why they say don't ever ask a woman how old she is. Why? Because she may be sensitive. Don't ask a woman her weight. Talk about a woman's weight. She may be sensitive. Or a man's weight. He might be sensitive. There are a lot of people that are sensitive. But it's easier to be sensitive and angry than it is to just change the things I don't like about myself. Because you know what that takes? That just takes some humility. It takes some honesty and some humility to make the changes about myself. That's all it takes. My little sister used to say, man, hey, your breath stink. All the time growing up. You know why? Because I used to like drinking milk. I love milk. I love drinking milk. But there's one downside to drinking milk all day. You got milk breath. You get, and I ain't talking about baby milk. Breast milk is different. It has a different odor. It has a different smell than just that pasteurized, whole milk that you drink at the store. That's that dead milk. That milk ain't even alive. It's been pasteurized. It's been cooked already. It's a downside to drinking. A lot of times the milk got pus in it when you read about cow's milk. Because the teats from the cow have already been inflamed. While they're constantly extracting milk out the cow, so they never get a chance to heal. The teats don't get a chance to heal, so you got inflammation, sores, blood, pus in the milk. So there's a downside of that. Your breath stink. But you know what? I was okay with accepting the fact that my breath was just gonna stink. Either chew some gum or take a toothbrush with me. But I love milk. That's just one of the things that I just have to deal with. Because I love drinking milk. I drink a gallon of milk in a day. But I could have made some adjustments. Just like everybody. Everybody can make some adjustments. But I'd rather not make those adjustments. I'd rather just blame it on the person next to me that it's all your fault that I'm the way I am. He said that's a natural man's solution to his problems. So we got that point, right? So we got that point. So let's continue. Go back to Genesis chapter 4, verse 8. Read that one more time.
Genesis chapter 4, verse 8 reads, And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him.
Go ahead.
Verse 9. And the Lord said unto Cain,
Hold it, we're going to read something right there.
Where is Abel thy brother?
He said, where is Abel thy brother? Go ahead.
And he said, I know not.
He said, I know not. I don't know where my brother is. Now, obviously, he said this, when you know where your brother is, but you say, I don't know. What is he doing? He's lying. He's being facetious. You know what? He's mockingly saying he don't know. He's purposely withdrawing information that conviction. I'm purposely withdrawing this information because I don't want to be convicted. You know why he don't want to be convicted? He's saying that because he doesn't want to take no accountability for his actions, no responsibility. I don't know. I don't want to take. It's saying I don't know. I don't want to be accountable. I don't want to be accountable for that. That wasn't me. I don't know where he is. What else? Total disregard of his actions and his behavior. Read on.
I know not.
Go ahead.
Am I my brother's keeper?
And for him to even ask that question, that's him saying what?
I'm not my brother's keeper.
No, that means that's not my job. That's what he's saying. That's not my job. That's not my job. I don't know. That's not my response. He's not my responsibility.
Right.
That's what he's saying. My brother is not my responsibility. That is not my job to know his whereabouts. That is not my job to know his condition. That's what he's saying. That ain't my job to know. Is it my job to know? No. But that's not what Christ said. See, when you go to 1 Peter chapter 5, somebody read this real quick, and I'll put this up on the screen. 1 Peter chapter 5, read verse 1.
1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 1. The elders which are among you I exhort,
Go ahead.
who am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ,
Go ahead.
and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed.
Go ahead.
Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you.
If I've been taught enough, he said, especially if I'm an elder, he said, I know this and I'm a witness to this for a fact, that I totally understand what my job is. My job is to what?
Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you.
He said, feed the flock of the Most High, which is what?
Among you.
Go ahead.
Taking the oversight thereof.
Taking the what?
Oversight.
Meaning what?
Look at
When I take the oversight for something, that means what?
I'm my brother's keeper.
I'm taking responsibility. That means I am my brother's keeper. That means I am accountable for the man next to me. Totally opposite of what Cain said. That means I am. See, if I'm gonna be in Christ, then I'm gonna do exactly what Cain didn't want to do, which was be accountable, be responsible. Yes, sir.
Definition of keeper, Noah Webster's 1828, the third definition. One who has the care, custody, or superintendence of anything.
Care, custody, and superintendence of anything. You know what made what the irony of it is that Abel was a keeper of what?
Sheep.
A sheep. Abel understood what it takes to get the pleasure of the Most High. Because he understood that to gain the Most High's acceptance and to gain his reward, I have to learn how to be accountable and to take care or to take the oversight or to be a keeper of the Most High's flock.
That's his day-to-day responsibility.
That's a daily responsibility. And that responsibility is what got Abel rewarded from his work. But not everybody wants to take that responsibility. Cain, for example. Not everybody wants to be their brother's keeper. Not everybody wants to take the oversight of managing with care the love of what the Most High loves, of what Christ loves. Not everybody wants that duty, and that's okay. If you don't want that duty, if we're reading what we're reading, Abel already determined and shown through his choice and selection of sacrifice what gained the Most High's pleasure. Being responsible and accountable for the sheep, for the flock, managing the flock, and also giving the Most High the best of his sacrifices. But what does that mean? That means that we have a choice. That means you can, and if you want, you can have and develop that mind frame, or you don't have to at all, and that's okay. But what happens when you don't want to do that? Because not everybody wants that position. But we know, we're reading that's what gets the most. That's what the Most High prefers. But what happens when you don't want to do that? Let's go back to where you was at, Mount Waller, real quick, and give me and we'll finish reading that in just a second. That other part. But go back to where you was at in Genesis chapter 4, verse 8, real quick.
You mean verse 9?
Yeah, you in verse 9.
Okay. Genesis chapter 4 verse 9 reads, And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother?
He said what?
Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not.
He said what?
I know not.
He said, I don't know. Go ahead.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Go ahead.
And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
He said, man, what are you talking about? This man's blood is crying to me from the ground. Go ahead.
And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand.
Go ahead.
when thou tillest the ground.
He said, so now since all you care about is tilling the ground, you don't care about what pleases me. You care about making something happen for yourself. You're self-centered. So the things that you care about the most, he said, from this time forth, when you till the ground, read.
It shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength.
So the blood that you polluted the ground with is going to retard the development and the growth of what you care about. That means from this time forth, I'm going to make your life and what you love even harder to obtain. Because you don't care about what I care about. You don't love what I love. Read on.
A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth.
He said, a what?
A fugitive and a vagabond.
Go ahead.
Shalt thou be in the earth.
Go ahead. You'll be a wandering vagabond. A wanderer. Read on.
Yeah. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
So for a self-centered person to not be able to produce is painful. And to be a man of no country is painful. To be isolated from this point forward is painful. To be outside the group and outside the box, outside the community, is painful. You know, I'm just going to bring this up. You know, when we was talking about Thanksgiving, we know a little Thanksgiving class. And you read about, you know, for pretty much those that know about Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving was a celebration of a massacre of the about 400 to 700 Pequot Indians, right? You know, which were part of the Algonquin tribe in Massachusetts. You know, and so this massacre, when you look at how the massacre was started, it was out of retaliation, which I didn't know. I just found this out. The massacre was out of retaliation because of a guy named, write this guy name down, because of a guy named John Oldham. Write this down, John Oldham. John, last name Oldham, one word, Oldham. Oldham, like you ate some old ham. John Oldham, right? Write that down. Now this guy right here was a loose cannon. He came as one of the first on the Mayflower, and he was born in England. But at around 45 years old, he became a knucklehead, and he was banished from the original colonies that settled in America. So you know what that Thanksgiving was. That Thanksgiving was in retaliation. That murder was because he had got banished from the Plymouth settlement, the Plymouth colony. They kicked him out because he pulled a knife on one of the pilgrims. So he pulled a knife out on one of the pilgrims, and they said, "You got to get your ass out of here. You got to get out of here. You can't be in this camp. You can't be amongst the first European settlers off the Mayflower coming into Massachusetts." So he went outside the camp, made friends with some other Indians, some native tribes, and he took his nephews with him, and he had a couple other people with him, and he made friends with people that didn't agree with the pilgrims, and they became this isolated group externally from the pilgrim settlement. So he started getting down with other people on the outside. Well, he pissed some other natives. He was in a boat. He went and got a boat doing some fur trading with some other natives, and he was in a boat and he pissed some of the natives off. So they killed him. So it forced the colony to have to try to retaliate his blood. But really, he was a vagabond. By this time, he had already been a vagabond. By this time, he had already been kicked out the camp. By this time, he had already been a wanderer, trying to go establish his own community, because you couldn't tell him nothing, because he couldn't receive correction. So and think about this: in every colony, you're gonna have a hardhead. In every civilization, in every culture, new or old, you're gonna have somebody that just want to do what the hell they want to do, and they got to get banished for it. And you're on your own, and you don't have any defense. That's why he got killed. He didn't have nobody to defend him. And he got his little two nephews kidnapped, but they eventually got him back later on. The other pilgrims got him back. But that massacre was a massacre that was out of that retaliation out of that situation, because of a vagabond, a man that couldn't be told nothing.
Out of the spirit.
He was out of the spirit. So you read about that in history. You read about this in the scriptures. A vagabond with a vagabond mentality, meaning I don't want to do what it takes to get the Most High to be pleased with me. I'd rather destroy the people around me because I don't want to make no changes. And that's fine. You can live like that, and you don't have to be a keeper of the sheep. You don't have to understand the value of maintaining or showing brotherly love and extending to your brothers, but that's okay. That's all right. So let's read this right here in the commentary, the narrative.
All right. The narrative now traces the line of Cain to its full development.
Go ahead.
That becomes of a society that rebels against the Most
So
High.
all you do is create a society that what?
Rebels against the Most High.
You create a society that rebels against the Most High. So you go create your own society. That means that because you're a wanderer and you're a vagabond, that doesn't mean your life is gonna stop moving. You'll still get carnal rewards. You'll still reap some benefits, but you won't reap no benefits from the Most High. You can go build cities. You can go build houses. You can go build communities, but these will be rebellious communities. These will be rebellious houses. Go ahead.
Bless, I got this going on.
Yeah, I got this going on because everybody got something going on besides besides keeping the sheep, which is a choice. Read.
What becomes of a society that rebels against God and leaves the land of blessing in angry defiance.
And what?
In angry defiance.
In angry defiance. Read on.
Of his laws and his sacrifices.
Go ahead.
In this case, it prospers.
So if you don't want to be a keeper of the sheep, you still gonna prosper. That's fine. You still can make things happen in your life outside of being a keeper of the sheep.
I'm blessed.
Outside of being a brother and perfecting brotherhood. There's avenues and there's things that you can do. Read.
But the righteous should neither envy the wicked nor follow their way of life.
Nope. That's when Psalm 73, where David said, I slipped. My feet were almost nigh before me because I was envious at the wicked. Read on.
The Most High allows them to prosper.
He said the Most High allows the vagabonds or the people that don't want to be keepers of sheep, that don't want to be, am I my brother's keeper, that use these terms. That's not my responsibility. That's fine. That doesn't have to be your responsibility. You will still prosper. In what way? Read on.
In their earthbound way.
In a what?
The Most High allows them to prosper in their earthbound way.
So now, explain some of the things that the Most High, the commentary is saying that they'll still prosper in an earthbound way. Read on.
They produce music.
Hey, stop right there.
Oh.
He said they do what?
They produce music.
You gonna make some bomb Israelite music. You gonna make some dope tracks. You gonna make some bangers. You gonna be coming with the heat, bro. You gonna bring that heat. That's not saying you're not gonna prosper, but you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna make some dope music. You'll make good music. Music gonna be fire. Tracks gonna be fire. Beats gonna be fire. Bars. What else?
Weapons.
They're gonna be engaged.
They're
gonna collect the best weapons that money can buy. So they're gonna become the best musicians. They got music. They got albums ready to be. They got albums ready to be put out. They got albums on deck, ready to be distributed. They got every weapon that you could think of that just came out. They got old ones. They got new ones. They got collectors weapons. They got the latest and greatest new releases, never before seen, one of a kind, one of ones. They only made 10 of these. You got one. You got one of 10. I got the first one. I got the first edition, the one that just came out, that just dropped. You got weapons. What else?
Agricultural devices.
That means agricultural devices is your work. That means you got job opportunities calling left and right. You got choices.
I'm in demand right now.
I'm in demand. I could go. I got these. I got FedEx want me. Amazon want me. UPS want me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. I got a lot of people. I got a lot of places I can go.
Highly coveted right now.
Highly coveted. My work. People want me. I'm in need. I'm in demand. Yeah, I got opportunities. Yeah.
You can't just do this little Israelite thing.
No, this
That's cool.
I got choices, man. I got choices. I just want to let you know, I don't gotta be a brother.
No lightning hit me. I'm alive. I'm still eating.
Yeah, I'm still eating. You gotta eat, because the Most High said you gonna get taken care of. I don't gotta do this thing that y'all are doing. I got options. I got choices. There's things that I got going on in my life, and I'm content on where I'm going in my life because I'm pursuing the things that make me happy.
I'm okay.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So everybody doesn't have to be a keeper of the sheep or a keeper of their brother's keeper. They don't have to have a care and love for their brother. They can do themselves. You can do yourself in the world, and that's okay. You'll still make something for yourself, but it'll be in earthbound ways. Music, weapons, jobs, careers.
And
I'm going back to school because
Yeah.
I'm finna get my my A+ certification. I'm going to get this certification.
Yeah.
So I'm finna go into they
I had to finish it up.
They really want me for cyber security.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go get my certification for cyber security. So they calling me. I should do computer work like that back in the day. I should do security. So I got options. Yeah, you got agricultural devices on deck. Read on.
And cities.
And you can go build cities. That means you go from city to city. Yeah, just want everybody to know I'm finna go to Florida. Just finna everybody know. Hey, y'all ain't finna see me in a while. I'm finna be out and about, finna travel, finna do some traveling. I'm gonna go travel the world real quick. I'm gonna go, shake some things up, make some memories, take some pictures, be seen. I'm gonna go travel. Y'all keep doing that brotherhood thing. Read on.
Culture.
He said culture. That means what?
They start getting into like this, the nuances of things.
Yeah.
I got this fashion going on. I got this new idea that came to me, bro. I'm with these people.
I got these investments.
I got these investments. I'm over here. I got people over here. I know these people. We got some things brewing up right now.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I got some people out here, military homies that we just kick back today. We're working on this.
Yeah, I got projects.
I network because I'm of importance, brother.
Right.
I'm not small minded just on one thing.
Right.
You gotta expand your options.
Right. And I got other things going on for me. I don't know if y'all got these options that I have.
Yeah.
You got a monopoly going on.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily a monopoly, but I have options. I have choices. See, you don't have to take care of your brother. That's okay. And you can go get what the world has to offer you. Read on.
It is their only recourse.
Stop. Give me the second definition of recourse in the 1828.
This is fire.
Give me the second definition
Wow.
of recourse in the 1828. So for all those that despise the oversight of taking care of your brothers, dedicating to your brothers, you still live in the world. You still collect things. You still have hobbies. You still have careers. He said, but this will be your only recourse. What's the second definition of recourse in 1828?
Recourse, 1828 Webster Dictionary. A going to with a request or application.
You got to read louder because people online need to hear it.
Webster's 1828 Dictionary, recourse. A going to with a request.
It said a going to with the request. Go ahead.
Or application.
Or application. Go ahead.
As for aid or protection.
As for aid or what?
Protection.
So I go into the world when I don't want to be a brother. The only other option is to go to the world for what?
Protection.
For aid
and protection.
For aid and protection. Because
Supply and protection.
That's why I go to cities. So guess what? When you don't want to be a brother, you duplicate the actions of Cain. You, by default, go and inhabit the land of Nod.
Wow.
You yourself are officially in the land of Nod when you're disconnected from the duty of being a brother. That's where you at. Because you didn't see the beauty of oversight. You didn't see the beauty of preferring one another in love. You didn't see the beauty of when the Most High asked Cain, where's thy brother? I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? You don't see the beauty in that. You don't see how the Most High is attached to rewarding those that care about the flock more than themselves. You didn't see the value in that. You despise that duty. You despise that obligation. You despise that opportunity.
It's limiting. It's small.
Right.
It's.
There's got to be more to life.
Too many restraints. I have other things I can get.
I'm bigger than this.
I'm bigger. I do respect it, but I have bigger things to do with my life.
Yep.
This is a phase. You know, I did that before. I used to do that Israelite thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to do that thing back in the day. That
Yeah.
Jew thing.
Yeah, but I had to really get off the ground, and really learn about what it is to live this life.
Be successful.
To be successful. You know
I
what
did
it
the right
is.
thing, but now I'm successful.
Yeah, to know, I had to know what it means to be happy. He said, "Well, you know what you did? You just built another city, and that city you live in is called
Crazy.
Nod, bro, because that's where the vagabonds go for aid and protection.
It's crazy.
That's where they go to get away from being responsible for the Most High's flock. You're gonna produce some dope music. You have all the guns that come out, cause you're scared, so you gotta have weapons.
Gotta have something.
Yeah, you ain't got no. You're without the protection of the Most High, so you're gonna have you some weapons. You're gonna have you a collection. You have you an arsenal. You might have a couple of cars. You might fix your credit, get your credit back. I gotta restore my credit because I burnt my credit out for the
I gotta
brothers.
get myself back together.
I gotta get myself back on my feet. That's what. So there is options out there, but not in the way that you think. You're not gonna live like you think. You're gonna be without the Most High's protection. You're gonna be vulnerable and fearful because there's some guilt associated with it. Now I know when I have nothing good coming from the Lord, my only recourse is to celebrate the things that the world can bring me. That's my only recourse. That's the only thing I can do to get peace of mind, is to indulge in whatever the world can. I have to go back all into the world. I gotta go all in now.
I gotta read this out. This is right here. It says, Cain went from the presence of the Lord. This is true both physically and spiritually.
Boom.
This is the branch you're seeing. You're showing the spiritual branch, how he disconnected.
Yep.
And the physical too. It's both.
Break it down. It's great.
This is amazing, bro.
He said what?
It's right here. It says, Cain went out from the presence of the Lord, meaning I no longer have that conscience of the Most High.
Nope.
That conscience of the Most High was exchanged for the murder of my brother. In the murdering of my brother, or the hating of my brother, or the dissension with my brother, or the being divisive with my brother, that act or process of being divisive and having dissension and having an ill conscience towards my brother, that is the exchange of my godly conscience for the carnal conscience.
Yep.
And then it says, he went out from the presence of the Lord. This is true, not just on a mental level, on a physical level. Now my body is, I'm always somewhere else.
I'm wandering.
I'm wandering. I'm isolated.
My mind's everywhere. My body's everywhere. I'm everywhere because I'm looking for something to sustain me when I know that there's nothing out there that's going to sustain me. So I gotta indulge in the pleasures of life because I have nothing coming to me. I have no good coming to me.
I need something for me.
Yep.
So I'm not fulfilled with the bonds.
Yep.
Because I'm not investing in the bonds. You can't be fulfilled when you're not investing.
Right. People only care about what they invest in.
Yeah.
So when I don't invest into the bonds and solidify the bonds of relationships, I don't care about them. You can still function in life. You just don't know that you're entering into the land of Nod. You just resurrected Nod all over again. You resurrected Cain's dwelling. You resurrected his habitation. Because Nod means to wander. Now I'm all over the place. Because I'm looking for something to indulge in and to protect me and for a safety measure and a backup, because I don't have what the Most High was giving me. Because I despise the duties of being a brother. We understand how that works? Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 37. It's not hard to understand, but we just need to see it from a different angle. How a lot of people forfeit brotherhood and treating people right in relationships.
You said 14:27, sir?
14 and 37.
37. Okay.
A lot of people forfeit what the Most High's duty is and job is, which actually gains the rewards of the Most High and the pleasure of the Most High, which is taking care of your people, which is one of the greatest things you can do on this earth, and the greatest jobs you can ever have is to love your brothers and take the oversight over your brothers, but with a certain mentality. Now finish where you had I believe you was in taking the oversight
Somebody, Peter
in
5?
Peter's, yeah, 1 Peter chapter 5.
This
No, hold this 1 second.
is what he was saying.
No, we can bring it up. Go ahead, read that.
1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 2. Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among
That's
you,
one of the greatest jobs you could ever have. Read on.
taking the oversight thereof,
Taking the duty and responsibility over their care. Read on.
not by constraint,
Not because you're forced to do it. The Most High don't want you to do it if you're angry or bitter or if it's a burden to you to do it. He said not by constraint. Not because it's a burden to you and I got to do it because the Most High, I'm forced to be here. It's if I had options or choice or the first opportunity, I'm out of here. And some men do that too. They do the work long enough until they can get stable, and then they out. They do the work long enough until they can sit comfortable, and then they're out. Then when they got a choice, or they do it until they got a choice.
That's crazy.
You know what? Then it's revealed I don't have to do it because it's really not in me. I don't want to do it. He said, Most High don't want you to do it if it's out of constraint anyway. He said, not out of constraint, but what?
not by constraint,
But what?
but willingly.
But what?
But willingly.
That means you want to take the oversight of your brother. Not take the Cain approach, am I my brother's keeper? Of course you are. But not by force. You got to want to sacrifice yourself. And you got to want to put your brother first over your own self. Then what you're looking at is those that are selfless versus those that are selfish. Those that are self-centered versus those that are charitable and giving.
Come on.
Putting other people's needs over mine.
It's a contrast.
That's a contrast. Read.
Not for filthy lucre.
And I'm not doing it for what?
For money.
I'm not doing this because I'm getting paid.
For
Because anybody knows that this doesn't pay all that well financially.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, a lot of preachers out there preaching for profit, we're not one of those. We don't preach for no profit. A lot of times we've been doing this with or without any kind of pay whatsoever. And a lot of times what we've been doing anyway for the past 20 some odd years is the needs of the camp has been sustained on our backs.
Supersede.
The needs of the body have come from our own labor, from working with our own hands. It wasn't because, people gave in abundance and that's how we've been keeping the school and keeping everything going. It's been off our own labor. Whether that's from the multitude of businesses that we possess and the Most High's grace blessing those businesses so that the camp can be fed and taken care of and function. So whether it was the brother's house, that came out of men's labor. The first brother's house bought in San Antonio came off the back of men's labor. Selling raffle tickets and selling clothes from New York. From Kawakab can tell it better than I can. Selling clothes that was ordered from the Chinese markets in New York, brought down to San Antonio, selling those on the side of the corner. That's how the school was funded. That's how the brother's house was purchased, and that's how the school was funded. And selling oils in the flea market. Bought the first brother's house and bought the first school. It wasn't because somebody donated anything. It was labor from the believers that got the camp started and off the ground. And that's what's been keeping it going is the Most High's grace and other men's labor. And the sisters that sacrificed and gave up whatever they was doing in their life to make sure that they kept the camp going. So it wasn't by no, we were endowed by some grants and loans and some free money. No, man, that ain't how the camp was ever gotten or established or sustained. It's been off the back of people that believe, that put other people over them, and that's how the equipment, the school, the house, the everything in the house, the businesses. That's how it was built, labor. So read that one more time and finish that. Not out of filthy lucre, but what?
Not for filthy lucre.
It's not for money. Read on.
But of ready mind.
But of who?
But of a ready mind.
You got men that have a ready mind to give. You have from men that have a ready mind to give. And let's look at one of these minds. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 8.
Joe, still on the whole the other Corinthians.
Yeah. You was in
First Corinthians.
Yeah, you was in 1 Corinthians
Yeah.
chapter 14 verse 37.
Yeah, you want 8.
Yeah, you can hold that for just a second.
Okay.
I want the 2 Corinthians first. I want to look at one of them minds that he just read right now. That he said you got to be willing and of a ready mind. I want to just expound on those mind frames. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, and let's get 16.
2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 16 says, "But thanks be to the Most High."
See, so that's Paul talking, right? He's to the church of Corinth. He said, "Thanks be to the Most High." I'm gonna give glory to the Most High. That what?
"Which put the same earnest care in the heart of Titus for you."
He said, "Didn't you know that the Most High put the same care that I have?" Paul is saying this man is a duplicate in love and accountability and desire to see the flock of the Most High succeed. He said, "Thanks be to the Most High that the Most High put what in Titus?"
"The same earnest care into the heart of Titus for you."
He said, "Man, this man Titus is unselfish, and I'm gonna give the glory to the Most High. This man Titus is selfless. He's not self-centered. This man Titus care about y'all more than he care about himself." And he says, "I thank the Most High that the Most High put this man, gave this man this heart." Read on.
Verse 17. "For indeed he accepted the exhortation, but being more forward."
He says, "For indeed," he's saying when when Paul told Titus about going to Corinth, this is the mind frame that Titus had. He said he indeed accepted of the what?
Exhortation.
He said this man accepted the duty of displacing himself and going to y'all in Corinth. He said he accepted the exhortation. Read on.
"But being more forward."
He said, but more than it was that by out of a demand that, or I made him do it. He said, man, this man wanted to do it. This man was willing to do it and ready to do it. And that's that ready mind that we reading about that Yohanan had. I don't know, where did Yohanan go? He went outside. Okay. Go back to where he was at in 1 Peter 5 and read that part right there where he was at 5 and probably 3 or 4.
1 Peter 5 and verse 2. "Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly."
But willingly, go ahead.
"Not for filthy lucre."
Not for money, go ahead.
"But of a ready mind."
But of a what?
Of a ready mind.
But of a ready mind. He said this is the mind of Titus. And he said, I thank the Most High that the Most High put this man's heart like this, geared this man's heart like this. This I exhorted this man to go to Corinth. He said, but man, this man was ready to go to Corinth more than I exhorted him. He was willing to do this. There's a lot of people that do the work of the Most High, and they do it disgruntled. There's a lot of people that do the work of the Lord and they complain about it. When you look at men that have to go outside of themselves, when they have to get uncomfortable or be made uncomfortable for the sake of somebody else, that bothers them. Or I got to put somebody else's needs over mine, that bothers them. When I got to put other people first, I don't really like that too much. Who gonna take care of me? That's a lack of faith. But you got a lot of people that that despise the work that the Most High finds valuable, which is taking the oversight over the flock. Not for no money, not for no paycheck, not by force, but of a ready mind because you want to do it. You here because you want to do it, not because you're forced to do it, made to do it. So you go home and complain and gripe and throw stuff around the house, cry in your pillow, whatever it is that you do. The Most High don't want that mind frame anyway. Burden of the Lord. I got to do the burden of the Lord today. What's the burden of the Lord today? Right? They say, woe to them that say the burden of the Lord, right? Yeah. Most I get tired of hearing that. You get tired of hearing the burden of the Lord. Damn, I got to give again. I got to keep giving. He said, this man Titus, he said, more than the exhortation. Read that again.
Verse 6, 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 16. "But thanks be to the Most High, which put the same earnest care in the heart of Titus for you, For indeed he accepted the exhortation, but being more forward of his own accord.
He said he was more forward of his what?
Of his own accord.
This man wanted to go to Corinth. I asked him to go. He said, but he was more desirous to go to Corinth more than me asking him. You got to beg brothers to do something nowadays for somebody else. Hey, brother, you mind picking this brother up from work? Did he call somebody else?
Right, you call, was I in the first pick?
Well, yeah, was I?
I'm on that side. I'm going that way. I'm going all the way this way.
Gosh.
Somebody else closer?
Yeah, I don't live on that side. I don't live over there.
It's about logistics.
It's logistics, it's location, it's degrees and coordinates.
Yeah.
He's 77 degrees west. I'm on the 38th parallel north.
It's not wisdom.
15 degrees latitude. It's not wisdom. Geographically,
Yeah, that's real.
scientifically,
Makes sense.
I'm an hour away. And you can't ask somebody to do something for somebody else without hearing a moan, without hearing you know, the scriptures say, do all things without dispute and murmuring. That's that murmur. A murmur is a silent sound under the breath, or a noise made under the breath. Okay, kind. It's not in them, but not everybody in the the ones that the Most High is. It's something that I read that says that's phenomenal about that mindset. It says the church designates and uplifts men that are willing to discharge their comforts, not by force but by choice.
But what if you a person that...
Let me write that down so people can get that. It says the church designates and uplifts men that are willing to discharge their comforts, not by force but by choice. So those are the ones that in a church body that you make leaders. You understand? You designate these men as leaders. You do not designate people as leaders that have a disgruntled attitude when it comes to extending themselves or sincerely giving from the pit of their heart. You don't designate those in the church body to be leaders. You don't elevate those that have a problem with coming out of themselves.
Can you repeat that one more time?
One more time. The church designates and uplifts men that are willing to discharge their comforts, not by force, but by choice. Those are your leaders in a church. Those men that go the extra mile for the body. When you meet somebody else, give me Jeremiah 15:5 real quick. Somebody give me Jeremiah 15:5. If you haven't read, read Jeremiah 15:5. And I got you, Abba. I'm gonna come back to your question. But I just got to hit this point real quick. Go ahead.
Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee?
Hey, so hold on, man. So in the church, you want to designate men that got pity on other people, that got pity and that have compassion for the needs of people outside themselves, other than themselves. He said, for who shall have what?
Pity upon thee.
Read on.
O Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
Or who shall bemoan thee?
And or who shall what?
Bemoan thee.
Or who shall bemoan thee? Read on.
Or who shall go aside?
It said, or who shall go aside. So he's asking a question. Who of the children of Israel is going to go outside themselves and bemoan themselves to have pity on your situation? Get the definition of bemoan.
Bemoan. To lament, to bewail, to express sorrow for.
Who do you elevate in the church body? Somebody that's complaining all the time about the work that they do? Or those that are driven by pity and compassion for the fact that other people's situation are not as prosperous as theirs? Who do you elevate in a church body? He said who gonna bemoan, or who's gonna go outside themselves? Read that one more time in verse 5.
Come, Jeremiah chapter 15 and verse 5. For who shall have pity upon thee, O Jerusalem?
Read on.
Or who shall bemoan thee?
Go ahead.
Or who shall go aside?
Now stop right there. That's critical, man. Because a lot of people don't want to go aside. A lot of people don't want to go outside themselves to give. They don't want to go outside their comfort. They don't want to be made uncomfortable for the sake of the needs of the people around me. A lot of people don't want to go aside. Read on.
Come. Or who shall go aside to ask how thou doest?
To ask what?
To ask how thou doest.
And how do you ask how somebody's doing? Do you just call and say how you doing? No. Ain't how you ask somebody how they doing. I called them. I did call. I did ask. That ain't what he's talking about. He's talking about who's going to bemoan and who's going to go outside themselves. You know what that means? A phone call, yeah, that don't really count. Did you make yourself uncomfortable? That's how you know when somebody's going outside themselves. They're willing to make themselves uncomfortable to know how are you doing. And if that's a problem for somebody in the church, it's to be made uncomfortable. I'll read that definition again. The church designates and uplifts men that are willing to discharge their comforts, not by force, but by choice. But for those men that don't want to be made uncomfortable, those are the ones that you do not make leaders. Yes.
What's that the definition? I'm sorry.
That wasn't the definition. That was a quote from a previous commentary. Not out of here, but from another commentary. So it was showing that this is what the church elevated. This was the mind state that was nourished. People that was willing to be made uncomfortable. If you're not willing to be made uncomfortable, you don't have that mentality. There's always nod waiting for you.
Nodding off.
You're nodding off, man. There's always nod as a Bible backup. There's always nod to go to. There's always that vagabond place where they got all the guns and the music. Ooh, they got fire music, they got weapons, they got guns, they got entertainment, and they got something to entertain you because that's the only recourse you have anyway. Because you have nothing, no other blessings coming to you. So you got to find something to keep you stimulated. Yeah, you're doing something. But go back to where. Now let that go. Let that go in Jeremiah. Finish that in that mind frame of Titus.
God. 2 Corinthians 8 verse 17. For indeed he accepted the exhortation, but being more forward of his own accord, he went unto you.
He said, on his own accord he went unto you. Read on.
Verse 18.
Now it don't say who these other men were, but these other men matched and mirrored the mind frame of Titus. Read on.
Verse 18. And we have sent with him the brother who prays is in the gospel throughout all the churches.
So whoever this other man was that went with Titus was a man that was well known for being about the gospel. He was dedicated to the gospel. He understood what it meant to serve Christ. Whoever this other man was, he had a reputation of selflessness. Read on.
Come on, verse 19. And not that only.
And not only that guy, Titus, and that other guy, but it was another guy. Read on.
But who was also chosen of the churches.
And the church said, man, you know who should go on that journey to Corinth? This man. Why should this man go on that journey? Because you know what? That man didn't have a problem with being made uncomfortable for the sake and the need of, and he did it willingly. He didn't have a problem being made uncomfortable for the needs of the people in Corinth. Read on.
It says, but who was also chosen of the churches to travel with us with grace.
And so the
with
church,
this grace.
So with this grace, so the church said, man, this man is responsible. He's accountable. You can guarantee that he's going to be responsible and he's dedicated to the cause of the body. Now you had your hand up, Abad.
Never mind.
Oh, you had your hand up?
Yeah,
No, he had his hand up. Right.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I was just recognizing that even the churches gave the best of their best.
Right. Their best. They gave the church. They gave other churches their best believers to edify and strengthen the new churches. You didn't send brothers that was full of doubt and was iffy to a new congregation. When you wanted to solidify a congregation, you chose men that were selfless, that were willing to be made uncomfortable. Those men you sent to the church to edify and strengthen the body. Those are the men that was raised up. All right. So back to where you was at initially. I think you had 1 Corinthians 14 and 37, right?
1 Corinthians 14 to 37?
37.
Okay.
Somebody else get John chapter 21 verse 16.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 37. If any 14 and verse 37. If any man think himself to be a prophet or spiritual, let him acknowledge the things that I write unto you.
See, so a lot of times people think they're a prophet, they're a teacher, and a lot of people want to exalt. They want to exalt themselves as a prophet or a teacher. A lot of people want to make themselves smart people. I want to look the part. I want to be smart. I want to play the part. I want to look the role. I want to let it be known that I'm a teacher. I've been doing this for a while. I've been in the knowledge. I got breakdowns. I got scriptures. He said a lot of people say that they're a prophet, which is a teacher, or that they're spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want you to accept my spirituality. A lot of people come across as being spiritual. He said, but if you're going to be spiritual, or if you're going to say you're a teacher, read on.
Let him acknowledge the things that I write unto you.
He said, let him acknowledge the things that I'm writing to you. Meaning, you better acknowledge the fact that if you're going to say you spiritual and you a teacher, you better acknowledge the fact that you come last. You ain't no damn teacher, and you ain't spiritual if you haven't learned what it means to be in a list of priorities. That your brother come first. His needs come before yours.
So my question is this: is this what the scripture is about building on that rock? People always say the rock of Christ. Christ is the rock, the chief cornerstone. That's what it is.
Yep.
It's Christ's principles.
It's Christ's principles and what he believed in. If you value what Christ valued, see what Christ valued. Paul explained that also in Romans chapter 15 verse 1 through 3. Read that. Somebody read that real quick, and because that's what Paul explained what Christ valued.
Romans?
Yeah, he got it.
This is powerful.
Go ahead.
Romans chapter 15, verse 1. We then that are strong.
You know what Christ was about? Those that had faith and knew what it was like to be made uncomfortable, to put themselves last. He said, ye that are strong enough to believe that. Read on.
We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak.
That the weak, the needy, I'm going to take responsibility and strengthen them. I'll be available until the weak get strong. See, a lot of people want to drop a class, drop bars, say I'm spiritual, put on fringes, put on a scarf, head wrap, put on a mitre, and they want to put the image on that I'm spiritual. But they don't want to do the work. They want to put the image on. But they don't want to sacrifice. They want to put the image on, but they don't want to be made uncomfortable. But they damn sure will have the image.
And desire service.
And desire service. And respect. Read on.
We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak.
Read on.
And not to please ourselves.
And not to what?
And not to please ourselves.
These are the ones that you make leaders in the church. Because that's what Christ cared about. Paul is explaining the principles of Christ. The principles of Christ is you don't come first. The body comes first. You come last. Read on.
Verse 2. Let every one of us please his neighbor.
Let every one of us do what?
Please his neighbor.
Read on. Why is that?
For his good to edification.
Why is that so important that you build up the person next to you that's weaker than you?
So you can be strong for someone else.
Why is that important that you be strong for somebody else? Why is that important?
So you can be.
So they can learn how to be strong for somebody else.
Yeah. Read on.
Okay, I'm sorry. Verse 3. For even Yahushua pleased not himself.
Because your master did what?
Pleased not himself.
Because our master did what?
Pleased not himself.
So if you're going to duplicate Christ, if you're going to duplicate our master, our Lord and Savior, then you have to gather the mind frame that I have to make my life a ransom for the sake of weak people. And it can't bother me to do so. It can't be a matter of frustration to do the service of the Lord. I shouldn't have to be forced, told, voluntold to do this work. I shouldn't have to be swindled, pleaded with, begged, bribed to do this work. I should want to do this. You know why? Because Christ, that's what Christ was about. So when we talk about the principles of Christ, Christ was about elevating and uplifting those that are weaker, that needed it. Somebody has to go outside themselves to say, how are you doing? That's what he's saying. Somebody got to get beside themselves. Let that go and finish that in 1 Corinthians 14 and 37.
14, 27.
14 and 37.
Come.
And you got John 21 and 16?
I got John 21.
Read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 37. If any man think himself to be a prophet,
It said, any man think himself to be a what?
a prophet,
Yeah, you think you're a prophet, you think you're a teacher, you think you're smart, you think you got the education, you think you're in the spirit. Read on.
or spiritual,
Or you call yourself spiritual. Read on.
let him acknowledge the things that I write unto you.
You better acknowledge the things that I write unto you. And what are some of the writings that he said? Ye that are strong, bear the infirmities of who?
The weak.
Of the weak, and please not yourself. For even Christ pleased not himself. He said, you better acknowledge these writings. You better acknowledge the fact that there's sacrifice involved if you're going to call yourself spiritual. You better acknowledge these sacrifices if you're going to call yourself a teacher or a leader of people or a leader of men. You better have your priorities in order before you can even pronounce I am a leader, I'm a teacher of men. I keep the sheep. Read on.
Come. It says, the things I write unto you are the commandments of the Most High.
And these are the commandments of the Most High. You better put yourself last. Get that in John 21.
St. John chapter 21, verse 16. He saith to him again a second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me?
That's why he asked. That's why he kept asking Peter a lot. Lovest thou me? Read.
He saith unto him, Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee.
Oh, yea, you know I love you.
No, I
You
love you.
know. Con.
You know this.
Con. I do. So, I'm just putting this other scripture in real quick. Go ahead.
He saith unto him, Feed my sheep.
It said, you know what? You say you love me with your mouth. I hear what your mouth is saying. But does your mind understand what I'm asking you? I hear what you're saying in your mouth. But does your will match my will? Does your desire match my desire? Does your pleasure match my pleasure? I hear what you're saying out of your mouth. But are you for certain? Do you really believe that? Read on.
Verse 17. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? Peter was grieved because he had said unto him.
Why mad? Why you mad, bro? Why you mad? Why is Peter mad now?
Because he's being forced to go outside of himself.
He heard him twice already.
He thinks he already is understood.
Like his
Say it again.
comfort is being.
No, say it again.
He thinks he's already understood.
He thought he made it
That's
clear.
Yeah.
He thought it made it clear. What you gonna say?
I was gonna say his comfort is being invaded at this point too.
Right. His commitment.
You know what?
His commitment is being questioned.
Yeah. How many times you gonna ask me?
Right. That's what he's saying.
I heard you already.
I heard you already. Why are you challenging my commitment? Because everybody say I believe.
Yeah.
Everybody come to the Most High close with their lips. He said, but their heart be far from me. So a lot of people say they believe, but what the Most High wants to know, Christ wants to know, do you really believe? Are you really willing to make yourself uncomfortable? Are you ready and willing to go out of your way for the sake of the needs of somebody else? And does that make you happy?
That's the most important part. I'll do it. Fine. It's an order.
If it's an order.
Is this an order out?
Is it an order out? Then who dropped it? Who dropped that order out? Who dropped it out? Who gave that order? Where'd it come from?
Okay, that's what I remember now.
That's not a good point.
That's not a good
That's
point
not
to
a good
remember.
point to remember about it. Unless you want to add. Unless you want to add to that point.
I remember the question over there.
Come on.
Man,
What if it's
since
not?
y'all talking about where the order came from, that brings to mind. Nah, I'm messing with you. Go ahead. Go ahead. What's your question?
What if that person never had that quality, but see that he want to gain that quality?
That's a great point, bro. Because you know the truth of it is, when you serve the Most High in this capacity, there's a lot of uncertainties. When you serve the Most High in this way, in this manner, where you have to be bent on the needs of other people, you have to bend your mind to that. There's a lot of uncertainties, and there's a lot of things that hinder people from committing all the way because they just don't have it in them. They don't have it in them. I like your question, but I'm not disregarding your question. I like your question. I'll answer your question. Go to Romans chapter 10 and read verse 13.
Romans chapter 10, verse 13.
Let everybody get it. Matter of fact, let me put it up here. I got to scratch what I just put up here for a second. Romans 10 and 13. Let's read that. So the question was once again, what if you're a person that's never had that quality, and you asked, how do you get that quality? Okay, that's a good question. Go ahead.
Or you try to gain that quality.
You're trying to gain the quality, right? Go to Romans chapter 10 and read verse 13.
Romans chapter 10, verse 13. For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Go ahead. So it starts somewhere. There's a start. Everything has a start. So first of all, I got to call upon the name of the Lord. If I don't have something of strength or quality, if I don't have an ability, first thing I got to do is what?
Call upon the name of the Most High.
I got to ask, man. First thing you got to do is ask. You don't have a quality, you don't have an ability, first thing you got to do is ask. Okay? Because ask, you shall receive. Knock, the door should be open. Seek, and you shall what? Find, right? So you got to ask. You got to call on the Lord. Read on.
Verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
But before you can call on the Most High, there's a step that's required before that. What's the step that's required before calling on the Lord? You got to believe in the Most High, right? So, read on.
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?
There's a step before you believe in the Most High. What's the step that you must take before you believe in the Most High? You got to what?
Hear.
You got to hear. How can he believe except he hear, right? Read on.
And how shall they hear without a preacher?
Oh, wait a minute. Now it's getting more specific. How are you going to hear about the Most High, which you need to gain more belief in him in order to call on him, but you can't believe in him unless you hear him. And how can you hear him without a what?
A preacher.
And how can you hear him without a preacher? So the step before hearing about the Lord is what? You need to get taught. So if I don't have an ability that I want to gain understanding on, or to master, or to heighten, then I got to go to who?
The preacher.
I got to go to the preacher. That means I got to go get taught. So that means that I got to be on time for class. That means I can't be late for class. That means I have to write class down, and that means that when I'm in class I can't be asleep. Right? That's what's needed if a person wants to gain an ability. That means I have to be all attentive to what the teacher is telling me, because what he's telling me is what I'm missing, and what I'm missing is what the Most High has to offer me, but I can't get it unless I submit myself to who?
The preacher.
To the teacher. Read on.
Verse 15. And how shall they preach except they be sent?
Except they be what?
Sent.
Now they got to be sent from the preacher. Got to be sent from the Most High. Now, how do you know the preacher sent from the Most High? We know this by Isaiah 8 and 20, right? We know this right here. If they speak
if they speak not according to this
word, it's because there's no light in them. Okay, we know these scriptures already. There's no truth in them. So how can they preach except they be sent? Right? Read on.
It says, as it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them
that preach the gospel of peace.
But I gotta look at the beauty of the fact that I got these teachers around me. That means I gotta appreciate my teachers. I gotta appreciate the teachers that I do have. See, if I despise my teachers, I'm not gonna say, man, they got beautiful feet. I'm not gonna say I'm glad that you graced me with your presence. That's what he's saying, man. I'm glad that you took the time to extend yourself to give me what I needed.
I appreciate this.
I appreciate you showing up. He said, how sweet are the what?
The feet.
How beautiful, I'm sorry. Are the what?
How beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace.
I appreciate your presence because you didn't have to give it to me. You didn't have to take time to show me what you're trying to show me. I value what you're giving me. That means while you're preaching and teaching, I look at it as a beautiful thing. Not as, man, I can't wait till class get over. How long class gonna go today? I can't wait to get out of here. I could have been doing something else.
Yeah.
I had other plans.
I'm really hungry.
I'm really hungry right now. Are we really gonna read? We already read this before. I already know this. You telling me something I already know. See, when you're looking at the Most High providing you with teachers, you gotta embrace the fact that I appreciate what I've been given. I'm thankful. Because some people despise their teachers and they despise what the Most High can give them through their teachers. And see what the Most High is doing by giving them those teachers that care, they're really despising the Most High from alleviating what they're short in. And I'm going to prove that because this verse comes from somewhere. This verse comes from Isaiah chapter 52. Right?
Hold Romans.
No, you're in
I'm in Romans right now.
You're in Romans 13, right? Somebody go to Isaiah 52 or 58. Let me get it.
58.
Yeah, it's out of Isaiah 52. It comes from Isaiah 52 or 58. Let me get it.
Oh.
It might be 52. Let me get it.
Talking about bring good times.
Yeah, no, it's Isaiah 52.
Second.
Yeah, start at verse Start at verse 4.
Isaiah chapter 52, verse 4. But thus saith the Lord power, my people went down aforetime into Egypt.
The Most High said, my people went where?
Went down aforetime into Egypt.
What does Egypt represent?
Bondage.
Bondage, man. Being I'm captive. I can't move. I'm in restraints. I don't have freedom. I'm under fetters. I'm powerless. I don't have no power. We in verse 4, right? No. Put that on there. All right. So he said, my people went down to what?
Went down aforetime into Egypt.
Go ahead.
To sojourn there.
Go ahead.
And the Assyrian oppressed them without cause.
It said, man, the Assyrians oppressed them without cause. Read on.
Now therefore, what have I here, saith the Most High, that my people is taken away for naught.
He said, man, what you think my people gonna be put in captive for nothing? You think I'm gonna let this happen to my people? Read on.
They that rule over them make them to howl.
He said, they that rule over them make them to what?
Them to howl.
Didn't Marvin Gaye say, make me wanna holler, throw up both my hands? Wasn't Marvin Gaye crying in the song? About how everything that he was seeing in this world, in America, made him want to holler?
And people felt what he was saying because they were suffering also as
Man,
well.
that struggle is real. That's the saying, right? Because especially if you came out of Marvin Gaye's era, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you would be hollering. Especially in the 80s during the Reagan era. Mother, mother, there's so many of you dying.
Yeah.
I don't know the
You have to
lyrics.
escalate.
Yeah.
War ain't the answer.
Yeah.
Only we can love and conquer hate.
Yeah. War is not the answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was crying in that song, man. So the Most High hear he hears your circumstance. The Most High hears what you're going through. He understands what you're going through. And he said he don't like it. That's why he said this in verse 4. Read it again. Verse 5, I mean.
Verse 5. Now therefore, What have I here, saith the Most High, that my people is taken away for naught?
He said, my people are taken away for what?
For naught.
You think I'm going to let this slide? Read on.
They that rule over them make them to howl.
We understand that. Read on.
Saith the Most High.
Civil rights, no justice, no peace. First hired, last hired, first fired. We understand this. Come in through the back door. We don't serve niggas or Mexicans. We understand this. We don't serve niggas, Mexicans, or Puerto Ricans. Those are signs that still exist somewhere. And those are collector's items on certain people's houses and mantles.
If you're red, you're dead.
Yeah.
If you're yellow, you're mellow. If you're black, you stay back.
Yeah. If you're brown, don't come around.
Don't come around.
Yeah. Nigger bait, you know, crocodile bait, nigger babies. You know what I'm saying? There was postage stamps of nigger being hung and lynched and put on a postage stamp. Dead bodies memorialized on a postage stamp. Because you want to send somebody a letter. Hey, I thought about you, man. And put a 10-cent stamp of a nigga hanging. I just want to let you know, I just want to write to you and say I thought about you. Put the nigga hanging up. Yeah, but you know what? He said they make my people howl, man. So it's not like the Most High don't see what we be going through. It's not like he don't see what we're missing or what we're lacking. Read on.
They that rule over them make them to howl, saith the Most High. And my name continually every day is blasphemed.
He said my name every day continually is what?
Blasphemed.
Because they're not allowed to get to know me. They'll let you be whatever you want to be in America. But you better not be a Hebrew. They'll call you an extremist. They'll call you a black Hebrew Israelite extremist.
Radical terrorist.
They call it domestic terrorism. You can't be the children of God. You can be anybody you want to be. You can be transsexual, transgender, trans anything. You can be anything, but don't call yourself a Jew.
Yeah, the 7-year-old won the pride contest.
Yeah.
Saw it the other day.
Oh,
7-year-old trans boy. He won. He was the winner.
He was the winner.
I think the Miss America contest of most beautiful, whoever it was.
Woman of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be whatever you want to be, but don't be a Jew.
Yeah.
Don't call yourself the Hebrews. Don't call yourself the Jews. He said, man, you blaspheme my name, man. Those are my children. You don't get to dictate what you're going to do to my children because you got them in captivity. You can't make them howl like that for nothing. Not for nothing. It better be because I ordained it. Read on.
Verse 6. Therefore my people shall know my name.
He said, therefore my people shall what?
Shall know my name.
They're going to learn me by Yahweh. Not by Buddha or any other God that you put in front of their face. He said they're going to know my name. We're going to have a relationship. Read on.
Therefore they shall know in that day that I am he that doth speak. Behold, it is I.
Go ahead. He said they're going to know, behold, it's me. They're going to understand that it was me that put them in this condition. And it's me that got them in this captivity. And it's also me that's going to bring them out. And they're going to call on me. They're going to get to know my name. They're going to call on my name. Read on.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings.
So who is the Most High going to set up to bring this good news?
Say that again.
Who is the Most High going to put out there to bring this good news?
The preacher.
The teacher. The preachers. These are the ones to bring the good news to you. These are the ones to strengthen you when you were in a situation where you were too feeble to help yourself. These are the ones the Most High got set up to bring the good news, to get you lifted up, to lift your spirits up. Read on.
That publisheth peace.
And they bring what?
Peace. Publisheth peace.
Go ahead.
That bringeth good tidings.
And they bring good tidings. The good news. That's what the gospel means. The good news. Read on.
That bringeth good tidings of good. That publisheth salvation.
And they let it be known what it takes to get what?
Salvation.
Go ahead.
That saith unto Zion.
They talking to who?
Zion.
They bringing salvation to who?
Zion.
And they say to Zion what?
Thy power reigneth.
Your God is in control, not politicians, not presidents, not elected leaders. The Most High is in control. Wait on the Lord. So I say this because when we go to Romans chapter 13, and he's talking about how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel, these are the ones that the Most High designate to lift you up anyway. is the teachers to bring you out of poverty or to bring you out of a painful situation. Yes, sir.
I always see Zion. What is Zion? A nation? A person?
No, Zion is symbolic for the children of Israel. Go to Psalms chapter 148. Let me see. Go to Psalm 148. It might be 149 as well.
149.
Read Psalm 149. It might be like the first couple verses of 149. Yeah.
Verse 2.
Psalm 149. Read verse 1 and 2.
Psalms 149, verse 1. Praise ye the Most High.
Go ahead.
Sing unto the Most High a new song.
He says, sing unto the Lord a new song. Go ahead.
And his praise in the congregation of saints.
He says, in his praise in the congregation of saints. Now, who is his saints? Read.
Let Israel rejoice.
Who is his saints?
Let Israel rejoice.
The children of Israel are the Most High saints. He's talking directly to them. Go ahead, let them rejoice. Read on.
In him that made him.
Go ahead.
Let the children of Zion.
What's another name for Israel?
The children of Zion.
Another name for Israel is the saints. Another name also is the children of Zion. So when you read Zion, it's really short for the saints or the children of Zion, which is the Israelite people. It's all the same thing. So don't get caught up when you see Zion. He's just referring to the children of Zion, the children of Israel. That's another way of addressing them. All right.
My Bible says something totally different. That's crazy. I don't have the Bible y'all have.
Now you got to get on board.
That tells me something.
Yeah, you got to get on board.
Somebody say him that made him.
God. Oh, okay. Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Finish that.
Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king.
So now we understand when you see that. That's what you know what it means. All right. So back to Romans.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 15. It says, and how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things.
All right. So, but read on.
Verse 16. But they have not all obeyed the gospel.
It said, but everybody don't obey the gospel. Everybody, there's something that's missing of why everybody don't believe the gospel or obey the gospel. Some they're not developed yet. Like the question Abad asked, he said, what happens if you don't have that ability to put yourself last, but you want that ability, right, Abad, I believe?
Okay.
But you want that ability. You want to learn what it means to be selfless. So, read on.
It says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah saith, Lord, who hath believed our report?
Go ahead.
So then faith cometh by hearing.
He says, so then faith cometh by what?
Hearing.
So it comes by hearing. Read on.
And hearing by the word of the Most High.
So if you don't have that ability to put yourself last as of yet, then what are you missing?
The teacher.
Faith. And you're missing faith. And how do you get faith? By hearing. Hearing who?
Teacher.
Your teacher. So your teachers are going to build you up. If you listen to your teachers, they'll teach you how to become selfless. They'll teach you how to gear yourself to putting yourself last and elevating the body of Christ. Does that answer your question? Just more on this point. First Corinthians 8 and 7.
1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 7.
Read.
It says, howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge.
It said every man don't have the same what?
Knowledge.
Every man don't have the same knowledge. So some men's knowledge vary in different degrees. Some men's knowledge of the Most High can propel them to say, you know what, I'm willing to put myself last. Some men's knowledge is not there yet and developed yet to where they're still young in their knowledge. They're still young in this knowledge to where they're still trying to fill it out. Because, to be honest, when you're dealing with the Most High, there's, like I said, there's going to be a lot of uncertainties. For an example, give me Exodus chapter 2, start at verse 1. There's always going to be some uncertainties when you deal with the Father, man, because your faith will be put to the test.
Exodus 2 and 1.
Yes, sir.
Con. Exodus chapter 2 and verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
Read on.
And the woman conceived and bare a son.
Go ahead.
And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch.
Now she said when she realized, man, it's a good child, man. Now the decree of the Egyptians was to destroy all the male children. She said, man, it's a good child. I'm not killing this baby. Nope. I'm not destroying this baby. She said, how old was he?
3 months.
Well, he was 3 months old. I mean, that was still a baby. 3 months, they're just picking themselves up or starting to roll. They just learning how to roll over.
That's some good qualities.
They got some good qualities. You know what I'm saying? It's a good baby. I'm not throwing this baby away. But you know what? There's always going to be some what else. There's always going to be some uncertainties when you serve the Lord. Where there's good present, where good is, evil's present. Right. So, read on.
Come on, verse 3. And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein.
She made a flotation device. Read on.
And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink.
Flags are those reeds that grow by the water. Read.
And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him.
To what?
It says, to wit what would be done to him.
To wit what would be done to him, which means what?
Witness, right?
To know what's going to happen with this baby. Is that a guarantee that slime pitch flotation device was going to work?
No.
It doesn't guarantee.
Ain't no guarantees. Plus, you in Egypt. What's in the river in Egypt? Crocodiles, bro.
Yeah.
But there ain't no guarantees when you serve the Most High. Sometimes you're going to have to put people that you care about in unknown situations. Sometimes that faith has got to hit home. You don't know how the Most High is going to come through. And the Most High required that. That's not easy to be like, you know what, I just put all my trust in the Most High. But when you understand the Most High, sometimes you're going to be put in a situation where you got to dispose of the people you love because it's a test of faith. Look at Abraham with Isaac. Look at what's being asked of this Levite family with Moses, baby Moses. Put him in a damn water filled with serpents, and I gotta watch him go. I gotta watch a 3-month baby float down the water. I don't know if this thing gonna flip over. I don't know if the wave gonna take it or animal gonna take it. But I gotta watch this baby float. There's no guarantees. There's no certain for certain. The Most High may always put you in a situation where your faith is gonna get tested. Read.
Verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side.
Now we know the rest of the story, you know, but that was a test of faith. That was a test of belief. See, now when you serve the Most High, unknown circumstances may present itself, but you got to rise above the situation. What's going to help you rise above the situation is your ability to submit yourself to your teachers so they can teach you how to have this kind of knowledge and this kind of faith, that everything's going to be okay. John chapter 4 verse 24.
St. John chapter 4 verse 24.
Read that.
The Most High is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and
in truth.
Go ahead, verse 23.
Verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth.
He said the time is coming where the Most High want to put your spirit to the test. And he wants you to worship him in spirit and in mind and in sincerity. Read on.
For the Most High seeketh such to worship him.
Because the Most High is seeking such to what?
To worship him.
So the Most High is looking for men and women with this quality. For a woman to put her baby in a river and wait on the Lord to get the baby in a safe place, that's what the Most High is looking for. He's looking for women with that kind of faith. For Abraham to sacrifice his son on the Most High's request, he's looking for those men that have that kind of faith. It says, for the Father does what?
For the Most High seeketh such to worship him.
You know why? Because everybody's faith is going to be tested. But, like we read about Titus, Titus was zealous when it came to giving to the body, making himself a sacrifice. He displayed all kind of zeal. Timothy was the same way. Go to Philippians chapter 2, verse 19. These men embodied what Cain didn't want to do from the beginning, which is be his brother's keeper. But we know where Cain went.
Yeah.
Read.
Philippians chapter 2 and verse 19. But I trust in Yahushua to send Timothy shortly unto you.
So not only was Paul dispensing Titus out and other men that had a reputation of selflessness and was zealous to the fulfilling of the needs of the body of Christ. He said, I send Timothy. Read on.
Shortly unto you, that I also may be of good comfort when I know your state.
He said, you know what? I know that I sent the right man to satisfy the needs of that body in Philippi. He said, I know. He said, I can trust when I sent Timothy, my mind's already at ease because I know the quality of this man. I know the selflessness of this man. Read on.
For I have no man like-minded.
He said, because I don't know of any other man that's what?
Like-minded.
I don't know of any other man that has the mind that I have. Like Timothy. Man, Paul was everywhere. Dropping it, bro. Expanding the church and expanding the believers. He said, but when it came to selflessness, he says Paul's match in selflessness was who? It was Timothy. He said, I don't know any other man like-minded like who?
Timothy.
Like Timothy, man. That what he's talking about is talking about this quality of disposing yourself, making yourself uncomfortable for the needs of your brother. He said the only person that matched that mind frame, that shares that likeness in his mind frame and his commitment and dedication is Timothy. He's telling you how sure he is and confident he is on the nature of Timothy. Read that again.
Come, Philippians chapter 2 and verse 20. For I have no man like-minded who will naturally care for your state.
He said he would naturally care for what?
Your state.
Man, this man naturally goes outside himself. It's second nature, man, to give himself up as a ransom for the needs of the body. That's not even a question. That's not even like you don't have to, like you said, bribe this man. You don't got to force this man, convince this man, create an elaborate idea or counsel to get this man motivated to present himself in this fashion.
You gotta threaten him.
You got to threaten him. You ain't do none of this. He said, man, this man got this mind frame naturally. He shares a mind disposed to want to help fulfill your needs. Read on.
Verse 21. For all.
Now, he said, because Paul understands what? Paul handpicked those people that he sent out on missions with him, and also to aid the churches, strengthen the churches. He handpicked those men because he knew something about. There's a quality that stood out from these men that he knew everybody didn't have. He said, what?
He says, for all seek their own.
Wait a stop. He said, I'm sending these men because I know not everybody got these men's mind. He said, because majority of men, he said, for all do what?
Seek their own.
He said, they all just worried about their damn self.
Oh, wow.
He said, that's why I don't send everybody. That's why I handpicked Titus. That's why I handpicked Timothy. That's why I handpicked these men. Because I know the willingness of these men. I know the willingness. There's no struggle when I say, hey man, I need you to go get up, pack your bags, head out to this place because they need your assistance. Get up, pack your bags, go to this church because they need your spirit. They need what you have to offer. They need your experience. They need your selflessness. Because a lot of people they want to be teachers. A lot of people say they spiritual, but not everybody want to do this. And that's what separates the Cains and Abels. Not everybody has the God conscious to want to feed the flock, and that's not injurious or laborious to their nature. That's a desire and a want of theirs. Read.
For all seek their own, not the things which are Yahushua.
Not the things which are Christ, which are Yahushua's. See, when you're in Christ, you understand that, hey man, I'm just here for whatever the needs of the body are. And I make myself available for the needs of the body, without question. That's why he picked these men. Read on.
But ye know the proof of him.
Hold on. He said, you know the what?
The proof of him.
He said, you know the proof of Timothy, man. This man's been tested already. This man has been put to the test. Go to Galatians chapter 6. Somebody give me Galatians chapter 6. He said, you know the proof of him, right? Give me Galatians chapter 6 verse 4. Somebody read that. Say, you know the proof of this man. This man's proven already.
Galatians 6 and verse 4.
Read verse 3.
Verse 3.
Shit, read verse 2, man. God,
verse 2.
Yep.
Bear ye one another's burdens.
It said, bear ye what?
One another's burdens.
It said, bear ye one another's what?
Burdens.
Man, that's the mind frame that's celebrated in the scriptures. Men that want to bear the burdens of other men. Take off their burdens from them. Alleviate their burdens from them. Make their duties and their job a lot easier. Read on.
And so fulfill the law of Christ.
And then if you can develop that mind frame, then you share the what?
The law of Christ.
Then you're in the commandments of Christ. You're following the commandments of Christ. Like Nathaniel read earlier when he read read 1 Corinthians 4:17, if I'm not mistaken. He read first. Yeah.
Corinthians 8 and
No. He read 1 Corinthians 14:37 is what he read earlier. Say that. So he said, when you learn how to alleviate the burdens of your brothers around you, he said, now you're following the law of Christ. And it's in 1 Corinthians 14:37. It said, if you supposedly are spiritual, you supposedly a prophet, then you better know the commandments of Christ. This is one of them. You ain't spiritual and you're not no teacher if you haven't developed this ability. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just need time. You just need faith. You need the more respect for what you're being given. And you gotta adhere to your teacher's teaching. Read on.
Verse 3. For if a man think himself to be something.
If I call myself spiritual, I call myself a teacher. But I don't want to alleviate the burdens of the people around me. Then what?
When he is nothing.
That man is what?
Nothing.
That man ain't nothing. If your objective is not to alleviate the burdens of your brothers and sisters in Christ, then don't put yourself on no pedestal. Don't big yourself up. Don't pat yourself on the back. Don't thumb your nose and your fingernails and rub polish your nails on your collar. No, man, don't do that. Because you ain't nothing until you develop this mind frame, not in Christ. Now you're just a babe. It's okay to be a babe, but don't put yourself on no pedestal. And that's the thing that he's saying. Some men falsely try to exalt themselves prematurely before they're being proven. They falsely put themselves up as teachers, leaders, and counselors. But they ain't been proven. Because as soon as they get proven, they get ghosts. Read on.
Con, Galatians 6 and verse 3. For a man.
Or I should say, they don't endure. As a good soldier in Yahushua. Read on.
Or if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself.
See, it's okay when you're learning, but just stay in that posture. Don't boost yourself up, saying I'm a teacher and I'm spiritual, but I don't want to commit nothing, and I don't want to lose nothing. And I don't want to be made uncomfortable. Don't talk that talk. Read on.
Verse 4. But let every man prove his own work.
It said, but just like Timothy, Paul said, man, I know the proof of this man. This man's been proven already. His work has been proven already. So guess who got to work on their work?
Everybody else.
Everybody else, man. You got to prove your work. He said, let every man do what?
Let every man prove his own work.
Prove his own work. Go ahead.
And then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone.
Then you can be like, you know what? I'm glad the Most High is allowing me to commit myself to the needs of the body. But I got to get proven first. So go back to where we was at. Let that go in Galatians. Finish that in Timothy in Philippians when he said, I know the proof of him.
Come on. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 22. But ye know the proof of him, that as a son with the Father.
He said, as a son with the Father. He said, that's how Timothy has been. That's how me and Timothy's relationship been. He said, like a son and a father. Read on.
He has served with me in the gospel.
He has served with me where?
In the gospel.
Bringing good news to the people that needed uplifting. Bringing them good tidings. Read on.
Him, therefore, I hope to send presently.
He said, this man I hope to send what?
Presently.
Read on.
So soon as I shall see how it will go with me. But I trust in the Most High that I also myself shall come shortly.
He said, but you know what? If the Most High is willing, I'll be there soon. But in the meantime, I'm going to give you the best person I know that duplicates my mind frame, that duplicates my sacrifice, that duplicates my selflessness, that cares about the church more than he cares about himself. So in the meantime, I'm going to give you this man. In the meantime. So this is what Paul is saying. I'm confirming the dedication of these men who don't have a problem taking the oversight over the flock. They're totally different from what Cain was talking about in the beginning. Totally opposite of Cain. There's people that have issue, that question, am I my brother's keeper? Well, you should be. And if you don't know how to be, then you should humble yourself so you can learn how to be.
Not be resistant.
Not make it resistant. Now, some people are gonna some people are, go to Mark chapter 9 verse 38. We're gonna wrap it up. Mark chapter 9 verse 38. Some people want to duplicate the doings of Christ and the disciples, but they may have not come from the same disciplines. Mark chapter 9 verse 38. Somebody read that real quick.
Come. Mark chapter 9 and verse 38 reads, and John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name.
Go ahead.
And he followeth not us. And we forbade him, because he followeth not us.
Now what the disciples are saying, man, this man didn't come from our school, this man didn't come from our camp, this man didn't come from our sacrifice. This man ain't sacrificed what we sacrifice. He teaching, they try to cast out demons in your name, but he ain't living the life that we had to live. Because the disciples had to give up everything and roll with Christ. He said, put down your nets, I'm going to make you fishers of men. They had to lose something to get that position and that ability. He said, but these men didn't follow us. They didn't come out of our camps. They didn't come out of our school. They didn't come out of our discipline. They didn't come from our lifestyle.
Our structure.
They didn't come from our structure. They didn't come from our sacrifices. But they trying to cast out demons. What did Christ say?
But Yahushua said, forbade him not, for there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name,
Go ahead.
that can lightly speak evil of me.
So he said, man, don't worry about those men. Let the men teach, man. Let them teach. Now the disciples are like Paul was saying in go to Matthew chapter 19 verse 27. Read that real quick. Somebody read Matthew chapter 19 verse 27. The disciples are like,
Got it.
I don't know if this is right. This might not be right, man.
Yeah.
Read that.
Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27 reads, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all.
He said what?
We have forsaken all.
Everybody ain't gonna forsake everything. That's why the disciples are asking that question. Man, why are they teaching casting out demons out of your name? They ain't doing what we doing. They ain't living like we living. He said, man, we done gave everything up. They teaching your name without giving everything up. He said, we have forsaken all. Go ahead.
And followed thee.
He said, man, we've been following you from the jump. We gave it all up to go follow you. How are these other people allowed to cast out demons in your name? You got to understand where the question would come from.
Right.
Because some men sacrifice more. There's different levels of sacrifice. Read on.
What shall we have therefore?
He said, man, what we going to get? Now hold that question and go back to where we was at in Mark chapter 9 verse 38. Somebody else read Mark 9 and 30. You hold that, Matthew.
Okay. I mean, I got it right here.
No, let somebody else read.
Mark 9 and 38.
Can you listen to him? Yeah, read that.
Con. Mark chapter 9 and verse 38. And John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name.
Read on.
And he followeth not us.
He ain't give it up like we gave it up. We give everything up. Why is he doing that? He didn't have to come from this background that we came from. This level of sacrifice and tutelage. Read.
And we forbade him.
And we stopped him. Man, you can't do this.
Oh, come on, man. What are you doing?
Can't cast out devils, man.
Not allowed.
You're not allowed to, man. You're not down. Hey, man. You better live this life if you're gonna cast out devils like we doing. He said we forbade him. Read on.
Because he followeth not us.
He said because he didn't follow the routine and the same system that we come from, the same discipline that we come from. He ain't gave it all up. That's like cheating. Read on.
But Yahushua said, forbid him not.
He said, man, don't stop him. Read on.
For there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name.
Read on.
That can lightly speak evil of me.
He says, not evil of me. Go ahead.
For he that is not against us is on our part.
He said, man, understand this. He that's not against us is for us. He's on our part. Read on.
For whosoever shall give you a cup of water to drink in my name.
Go ahead.
Because ye belong to Yahushua. Verily, I say unto you, he shall not lose his reward.
So it's a faith-based system. So the greater rewards are going to the ones that take greater risks. The smaller rewards are going to the ones that take what? Smaller risks. So it's a varying degrees of sacrifice. It's a varying degrees of commitment. Some men don't have the same knowledge. They don't have the same commitment. They don't have the mind of Timothy. They don't have the mind of Titus. Some men got stronger faith than other men. He said, but they'll still get a reward. It's just not going to be what they get. Now go back and read Matthew chapter 19 and finish that in 27.
Come. Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27 reads, Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Verily, I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones.
And it said, for those that gave it all up, he said, you're going to sit upon what?
12 thrones.
12 thrones. Read on.
Judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
So you have a greater position. And you have a greater reward. Because your sacrifice was greater. So everybody commits on different levels. But the reward is on different levels also. That's why Paul said what? When it comes to doing sacrificing for the body, go to 1 Corinthians 9:24. We're going to end it with that.
1 Corinthians 9 and verse 24.
Yep.
Know ye not that they which run in a race run all?
He said, but when you run in a race, do you run to come last? When you run in a race, do you try to just finish? Is that my goal? I'm just trying to finish. I just want to make it to the finish line. I don't care how long it takes. I just want to say I made it.
If you half stepping.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But one receiveth the prize.
He said, but man, the same prize ain't going to everybody. Everybody don't get the gold. There's gold, silver, there's brass. There's also varying degrees of sacrifice. He said some is gold, silver, precious jewels, wood, hay, and stubble. And every man's sacrifice should be revealed by fire. The Most High gonna put everybody's sacrifice to the test. But some are better qualities than others. Some are more committed because some believe more. Because it's faith-based. Your commitment is faith-based. He said, but if you're gonna run a race, read on.
So run, that ye may obtain.
He said, run a race to get the prize, man. Don't just run to say I did it. Don't just be in the truth to say I did it. I'm in the truth. Don't be in the truth to say I'm a brother. Or don't be in the truth to say, I believe. Man, you won't be in the truth. Be in the truth to get the top prize, man. Get this knowledge and give it all up as to gain the greater reward. Don't just be in it just to get a consolation prize. I get a ribbon and I get the t-shirt that says 2023, I ran for Christ.
Yeah.
I ran for Christ 2023. Don't do it for the shirt, man. Do it for salvation and for the greater prize when the Son of Man comes back. That means commit more. And don't be afraid to commit more. And don't despise commitment like Cain did. And that's why the class is called Unfollow Cain. Don't follow that example. All right? So with that, we have any questions? Yes, sir.
In the scriptures, are the children of Israel also known as the elect?
Yes. There's so many names for the children of Israel, but they represent. They have different titles. The Most High call them different titles. My elect, my saints,
Holy Mountain,
a plant of renown.
Branches.
So yeah, branches. The Most High got different names for them. Yes, sir.
Well, what's this? I read whenever I run past when he's talking about the daughter. He brings up. He continues to say, "O daughter
of Zion."
Of Zion or Israel.
When he's talking about "O daughters of Zion," he's talking about the women of the children of Israel.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about. The daughters of Zion. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're saying?
It's in Jerusalem. In Jeremiah. I can't remember the scripture.
For the hurt of the daughter of my people, I am hurt.
Yes, it sounded something like that. So it almost sounded like he was talking about an individual.
He's talking about to the women.
Oh, okay.
To the women of Israel. Listen, women have a commitment also. They have a responsibility also. Read Titus real quick. Titus chapter 2, start at verse 1 real fast. It's not just men on the hook, but women on the hook as well.
Titus.
Start at verse 1.
Titus chapter 2 verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine.
Everybody has to speak the things that become sound doctrine. Read on.
That the aged men be sober.
The aged men got to be what?
Sober.
They got to be sober, man. They can't be under the influence. They have to have clarity of mind. They can't be engulfed in their passion and their lust and their flesh. They have to be freed up in the mind to be able to dispense counsel and aid and help, and to know how to lead people. You can't do that under the influence. You can't serve two masters. Read on.
Grave.
You got to be serious. Grave means serious, man. You can't take this. You can't take this duty lightly. You can't take this obligation light. It's not for fun or jokes. or it's not for pride or for boasting purposes to say, look at me, I'm a prophet. Look at me, I'm a teacher. No, man, it ain't for that. It's selfless. It has nothing to do with your image or your pride. Read on.
Temperate.
You got to be temperate. That means you got to be under control. You can't be one guy one day and another whole different person the next. You can't be up and down. You can't be emotional. You can't be irate, out of control, full of rage, and then calm the next day. You can't be bipolar, man. No, you can't do that, man. You got to be temperate. Because people need examples. People are following your example. And they need to see consistency. They need to see this person up and down all day, every day. They need to see consistency. Especially when you're trying to get somebody to change. Read on.
Sound in faith.
They got to be what?
Sound in faith.
And I'm gonna say like Paul talked about Timothy. Your faith got to be put to the test. Your faith got to be proven. If you're gonna be an aged man, you'll be an elder. Your faith got to be put to the test. Read on.
And charity.
And charity. Go ahead.
In patience.
And in patience. Read on.
The aged woman likewise.
Now when it says the aged woman likewise, that means all these attributes that he's talking about the aged men should have, the aged woman should match and mirror those attributes. Every last one of them. He said the aged woman likewise. That means she got to have all these qualities also. That means she can't be under the influence. That means she can't be sloppy. That means she can't be irate and emotional and unstable. Read on.
The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior.
It said that their behavior. He's pinpointing their behavior. That what?
And behavior as becometh holiness.
Go ahead.
Not false accusers.
Not blaming people all the time. Not false accusers. Read on.
Not giving too much wine.
Not cracking bottles open. Popping corks. Popping bottles. Not sipping. Not popping a can top. It said not giving them what?
Not giving too much wine.
That means she got to be moderate in her wine drinking. If she drink at all. Read on.
Teachers of good things.
And everything she teach is about extending a good example to people that view her. Teachers of good things. That means that when I watch this aged woman, I don't see bad examples. I don't see things about her that I said, man, I ain't gonna do what she doing. And I don't want to be like that sister. When people see her, they should want to say, man, I want to be like that sister. Other sisters see her, they should say, I want to be like that sister. How caring she is, how patient she is, how honorable she is, how stable she is, how she mind her business. Read on.
That they may teach the young women to be sober.
Because it's all about example. And who's watching? The young women are watching. The young daughters of Zion are watching. That's why I said it's not just a man thing. Everybody's on the hook to perform these things, to be charitable. Because a man, just like an aged man got to be charitable, an aged sister got to be charitable too. Read on.
To love their husband.
And also to what?
To love their husband.
They got to demonstrate what it means, to be the definition of what it means to love their husbands. Read on.
To love their children.
They got to be the example of loving their children. Read on.
To be discreet.
To be discreet. To be modest. Discreet is modest. Showing modesty, chastity. She ain't wearing no tight blouse poking out, body figure poking out every which way. Her dress is appropriate. Her speech is appropriate. She don't talk like a sailor on a battleship. Read on.
Chaste.
She got to be chaste. Chastity. That's modesty. She got to know what's appropriate. Read on.
Keepers at home.
She got to stay where?
Keepers at home.
She got to. That definition means to work at home. That means her job ain't done from with the work that she do outside the house. When she gets inside the house, there's still more work to do inside the house. The work don't stop when you get home. Read on.
Good.
Go ahead.
Obedient to their own husbands.
And learn how to follow their own husbands, not some other outside influence. Read on.
that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
And so they got to stay in order. So it's not just a man thing. Women there's attributes that women are supposed to possess as a daughter of Zion. They got duties, and they have a standard that they must keep, and it's not just for men. All right, we may not always discuss that, but that's in there. So any other questions? All right, with that, we're going to say shalom. Let's go ahead and set up a quick prayer. Imagine we'll put and walk it down, rise and face the east real quick. Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Abanawa, Bashemayim, Badash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak with Ka, Taba'ah, Ratazak, Hayah, Aisha, Baratazak, Kawa, Hayah, Bashemayim, Ratananawa, Wacham, Ko, Yawam, Wasalachna, Kabwathna, Kasalachna, Kabwathina, Wala'ah, Tabianawa, Walasayawan, Bo, Shana, Bayan, Rai, Kaya, Ka, Malak, Wata Para, I will love you, Aman. Four corners.
Yo, Bashum, Yo, Shot, Rockin' out, Rush out, support, Yo, Bashum, Yo, Shot, Rockin' out, support, Yo, Bashum, Yo, Shot, Rockin' out, support, Yo, Bashum, Yo, Shot, Rockin' out, support,
Rakata Yahweh, Rakata Yahweh Shai, Wadi Yahweh, Wadi Yahweh Shai, all love, all truth, all mercy, all righteousness, all piety, all wisdom, all knowledge, all understanding, all power from Yahweh, all power from Yahweh, all power from Yahweh. Yahweh Shai's name we pray. The water, from Yad, Aman. Circle up.
Saluting out in the heavenly order, Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Wokuya Shala, Men of Israel, Munch, Rup,
Yahweh Shai,
Top. Dismiss. I mean, turn to face sister.
Turn to face sister.
After we got sister.
Saluting out the daughter of Zion, Men of Israel, Munch, Rup,
Judgment top. Dismiss. Fall out.
What's up, man?